I saw it that night that he described at that church where everyone was sweating and where it was just so hot inside of the church, where the doors were shut and locked. I was sitting there watching him. He was really trying to keep everything peaceful because the police outside were unleashing tear gas. And that tear gas was leaking through the cracks of the church. And we saw tears in people's eyes. And we didn't know sometimes whether it was because of the very meanness and sadness of that moment. Dr. King was reflecting some of the warnings that some of us had given him about being in such danger. We had heard the rumors that there were people while he was down in Jackson, Mississippi, who were trying to ambush the place he was going to speak. And he was very resentful of the fact that some of us thought it would be a good idea to have guns around the place to protect it. He was very resentful of the fact that he thought that we had misinterpreted the whole meaning of his work, that we would use the very thing that he hated the most, the violence that he despised, to protect him. We thought that we were doing him a favor. We were not. And as we left, we told him that if you get killed, it would be so terrible because we would be like Indians without a chief. We would be all scattered and we would all be without a leader and wouldn't know what to do with the civil rights movement. He was disappointed when I stood and talked to him in the office of the NAACP in Jackson, Mississippi, about trying to protect him. But he didn't accept our offer of guns to protect him. In Memphis, we were at that place where we were having this big strike, and we thought that Dr. Martin Luther King's presence would be so good to invigorate that strike. We had invited him there so that he could be there, and we thought it was going to be so wonderful to have him march down the street, Main Street, with us, carrying the signs that says, "I am a man." We thought it was going to be so wonderful, and I was to put the signs in the back of my car and take them up to Main Street and pass those signs out, and then later on to take the signs back up, and then we would go to the church where we would hear Dr. King speak. I was one of those little guys. I still am. One of those very many little guys that was there at the place where Dr. King was going to be in Memphis. It was such an exciting and scary time. Scary and exciting both for me to be there, because I'm a little guy, but I saw him. And that day that night before we went to the church, and I sat there in the front with Jesse Jackson and that group that was there sitting that night, and we were listening at Dr. King calm the crowd down. It was the 3rd of April, not the day before he was supposed to really speak, but he had came from the hotel room because the crowd just wanted to be with him. They wanted to be with Dr. King that night. And ironically, it was going to be the last night that Dr. King would ever speak again. The last night. And we listened at him speak the words that were said here. about him not being afraid. We were afraid. He said, I'm not afraid because I've seen over the mountaintop and I've seen the glory that's beyond this life. Well, we thought we were going to see another speech, and that day as we stood on the balcony of Lorraine Hotel, Dr. King was talking to the people who had visited from Atlanta, Georgia, standing below, including his brother. And they were all talking to Dr. King, and Dr. King was very jovial and speaking to that crowd standing beneath him. And suddenly it just looked like the air just stopped for a moment. We all just knew something had happened. Dr. King rose up a little bit and fell, and his foot came out of the little bars there on that separated, that were on the edge of the balcony. And we knew Dr. King had a sense of humor. And someone called from downstairs, "That's not funny, Martin." And when I looked, I saw a telltale trickle of blood right on his right shoulder. And I looked at his face, and I looked at his lips, and I saw his eyes open, and I said, I will never hear another speech come from him. Will this be the end? Is this going to be the last time I'll hear one of those glorious speeches of his? Are those wonderful quiet moments where we would kneel on a bridge in Alabama, in the middle of crowds that were threatening with sticks and bricks, would I ever see him calmly say, "Now let us pray"? And I knew that it was going to be the last time. I departed from that balcony that day knowing that it was going to be another beginning for me. And I left Memphis, Tennessee to hide. Because as you know, as all of you know, a lot of things went to happening around Memphis. If you could see, the judge that was involved died. Dr. King's mother, she died at the piano. Dr. King's brother was found floating face first in a swimming pool. And someone had said if I stayed in Memphis, that I would be one of those people killed in that rush of people who were dying, because I was a little guy. No one knew Otis Woodard. No one knew me when I came into St. Louis. No one knew anything about my family. I walked away from the bus station and found a little place on Cobrian where there was a vacant house, and I went in the basement and I told my wife we could sleep there until I could find a job. And as I stayed in that basement, I had time to reflect, what do I do next? What do I do after going through the wonderful highs and lows of being around Dr. King, listening at those marvelous words that call us to duty all around us? And so I said, maybe what I do is feed people so that they would have the strength to fight this system, so that they could walk on to freedom. And when I was invited here tonight, I thought, there are going to be people who are seeing me tonight like I saw Dr. King. They're going to remember that I came here to this church tonight when this cancer that I have now, or old age, or one of the stray bullets from one of those young guys shooting in my neighborhood take me away. There's a lot of work that's not finished. And I hope that all of you, like I did tonight as I listened at Dr. King's speech by people like this, who are wonderful people, I hope that they keep carrying the message on, because tonight, in a way, I saw Dr. King again. Thank you.